welcome to my channel. My name is Ndifon Ntui. On this channel I make some tutorials. I post new videos on Monday, Wednesdays and on Saturdays. So if you're into stuff like this, make sure to check back on those days in order to watch new content. Alright, if you are a beginner or if you're a person that's trying to brush up on your skills, I offer online courses. I'll be showing a demo on how to make a jumpsuit so you can watch on the side if it will be convenient for you to learn online. If you're interested, send me a message on Telegram. Alright, number is on the screen right now. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like the video, please give it a like. Do not forget to subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Have a lovely day. Bye bye. Alright, welcome to today's video. In this video I'm going to make the dress that you've seen at the beginning of the video. The fabric that I have is I have 5 yards, 5 inches. I don't have 5 inches, I have 1.5 inches. So this is 5 yards of fabric. So we'll definitely have some left. So I'll begin with my bodice. I'm going to first of all draft the bodice. If you don't know how to draft the bodice, like I always advertise in every video, make sure to see my video on how to draft the bodice, as that will solve a lot of things, a lot of confusion for you. So to begin, I'm going to place 1/2 inch at my shoulder. Let me just breeze through the bodice quickly. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to place my vertical measurements. I'm going to place my under bust length at 14, place my bust point as 10, and I'm going to come down to 16. That's 2 inches after my under bust length, and place 16. Simply roll lines across all these points that you have. Alright. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to place shoulder measurement. The shoulder measurement 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. The bust measurement is 36 divided by 4 is 9. My under bust round is 32 divided by 4 is 8. I'm placing it at the half cut, as you can see, ignoring the under bust. Okay, simply join it. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place my slope my shoulder, okay, by 1 inch, as you've seen me do. Roll my line, and then I'm going to place my armhole. The formula for finding your armhole is your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. Alright, so for me that is 36 divided by 6 plus 1.5, 7.5. That's what I'm placing now, and I make my armhole. After that has been done, the next thing I'm going to do is I will keep my allowance of 1 inch on the side. The fabric I'm working with is stretchy, so I don't need to keep a lot of allowance. I'm keeping it, I will draw a dart now, but because the fabric is stretchy, I will not add allowance to my, I will not add any measurement to my allowance because of that, because it's stretchy. So this is my dart. You can see my allowance is just straight 1 inch. I didn't add anything. This is not supposed to have like a high neckline. It's supposed to just have spaghetti straps on both sides. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to come to the front and I'm going to come down by 7.5. Alright, you see that? And then I'm going to come over to the armhole after the 1 inch slope, okay? And I come down to 5 inches. Make sure to take note of that 5 inches because you will need it when you are cutting your spaghetti straps. So that 5 inches, you multiply it to 2, that's 10. And then we'll use that to cut the strap. 10 is front and back, okay? That's 5 inches times 2. I'll connect the both sides that I have over here in front, like so. And then at this point, next thing I'm going to do is to simply cut it out. Alright, this pattern would be used to cut the front and the back. Alright, the only difference is we'll have zipper allowance in front of here of 1 inch. The zipper allowance is only 1 inch. What I'm going to do next is this is the skirt part I'm drafting now. I'm going to place 1/2 inch at the waist for my sewing allowance. Alright, and then I'm going to place all my vertical measurements. So I'm going to place 16. Remember our body stopped at 16. I'll place 16 on this point right here, and then I'm going to mark 8 inches down for my hip. See, 8 inches down, and then I'm going to place my knee. So the knee, the shoulder to the knee is 40, but I'll come up by 2 inches and place it at 38. So whatever your knee is, you come up by 2 inches. Your shoulder to your knee, sorry. So for me it's 40. I came up to 38. That's 40 minus 2, 38. And then I place the dress length at 54. When I add the flace to it, I'm going to increase that length by 5 inches. Alright, you'll see me do that. But the main skirt length, you can make it like 5 inches shorter than your shoulder to the floor length. I hope you understand that. So if your dress length is 60, you can place this at 54 like I have done, and you would add it back when you're cutting the flay. Simply rule vertical horizontal lines across all these points. Here we're going to place the same thing we placed at the end of the waist. We're going to place it there. So here we're going to place 8. Here we're going to place hip. The hip is 41. 41 divided by 4 is 10.25. I'm going to place that here now. Alright, and then I'm going to come down to the knee. Alright, I'm subtract 2 inches from my hip and place. So my hip was 10.25, so I've placed 8.25 there. I'll also place 8.25 at the end. Just make a mark so that I can draw a straight line. Alright, so 8.25 to 8.25, hip to knee, and this to the waist. And then the next thing I'm going to do, add my 1 inch allowance all the way around the side. You can see me do that now, simply placing 1 inch everywhere. And then I'm going to slope the front so that I won't have any puffing there. Alright, the skirt pattern will be used to cut the front and the back. Alright, the only difference is that we'll have 1 inch in front of here. Alright, so now I will simply transfer all my patterns onto the fabric. So the first part I'm cutting here is the front, the top front. You can see I've cut it, cut my armhole, mark my dart points. Alright, then I'm going to go ahead to cut the back. So this is the back. You can see me cutting it round with the 1 inch of allowance in front of it. This is the skirt part. Alright, this is the back I'm cutting first. You can see that I've kept an allowance in front of it over there. Alright, I'm going to divide the end, and then I'm going to do my darts and then split it in front. Alright, so with this part here, I'm going to keep it close to the edge. You see there's no excess in front, so that's because this is the front. Simply just cut it out. Mark your dart point also. Alright, now for the flay, I'm going to use this lace, okay, so that it gives it a bit of texture. Just elevate the look a bit. Alright, so out of this fabric, I'm going to cut a 360-degree flay. If you don't know how to cut flays, I've made a video on how to cut different types of flays. Just check my channel, you will see it. Alright, so after you trim it like this, you make a fold. Alright, and then what you're going to do, I'm going to come from the edge, I'm going to mark 6 inches like so, and then I'm going to use that to make a curve there. I'm placing 6 inches for the width of the flay. You can see that I'm going to cut it twice. Now these 2 pieces I've cut, this is going to serve for the top parts of the bodice and for the joining at the waist. But I'll go ahead and cut flays for the bottom of the dress as well, and you will see all of that when I'm on the sewing machine. The length of the flay that's supposed to be on the bottom, that's on the skirt part, will be 10 inches as opposed to the 6 inches that we have on the flay I've just cut. Alright, so make sure to cut that too. The first part we would stitch would be these 2 pieces. These are the straps. Remember I told you that you should take note of that 5 inches. We have front and the back. 5 times 2, that's 10. This is 10. The length of it is 10. The width of it is 2 inches. You cut 2 pieces because we have 2 spaghetti straps. Now I'm going to simply fold both sides. See what I'm doing here? Look here. I'm going to fold it and collapse it. Alright, so watch this. Half inch here, collapse it and then stitch it in place. I'm going to do that on both of them. Okay, so simply run straight down. Do the same thing to the second part as well. Alright, and then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to hold all my darts on the front and the back, but this is the front that I'm handling first. Alright, on the other side of the front too as well. And then this is the back. Okay, that here is going to be longer. My thread keeps snapping. Alright, longer darts too on the other side of the back. Alright, I tried to iron it, that's why you see that water there, but it wasn't working, so I just left it. I'm going to join the front and the back together at the side. So remember, we kept 1 inch of allowance. We are now going to hold that 1 inch all the way down, though I added just a little bit, like 0.2 to that 1 inch, because it's stretchy, so that it helps us stretch the fabric and we don't have any excess. The next thing is to attach our straps. Please don't attach it to the front of your fabric like you can see me doing here. It was a mistake. Don't do the same thing. Make sure to turn it to the wrong side where your joining is showing and tack it on top there. Okay, you can see please don't stitch it in front, stitch it at the back. So I'm going to get one flay, and then I'm going to join the flay to the wrong side. So you see, your straps are supposed to be showing on this wrong side that we have here. I'm going to place the front side of my lace facing the wrong side of the fabric, so that by the time I flip it, the good side will show in the front of the body. Just see what I'm doing here. Okay, so it's the wrong side facing the correct side of the lace facing the wrong side of the fabric. All right, so I'm going to simply go around. You see this? I'm simply just going around the top, the armhole and everything. You can see me curve through another armhole here. All right, and then finish it off, cut the excess that you have there. And by the time you turn it inside out, if you stitched your straps on the wrong side, like I've been warning you about all this time, you would have the front showing like so by the time you are done with that step. Okay, so now I'm going to simply stitch on top of on the fabric and the lace to hold everything up here. So you see what I'm doing? I'm simply just stop stitching, smoothing everything out, so that that part of the lace will not have a lot of bulge. So you can see me just going around the body, right, all the way to the other side of the zipper allowance. Now I'm going to simply attach the flay at the waist of this part. So this is quite simple. You're going to simply turn your lace front side on the front side of the fabric. You get what I'm trying to say? Front side on the front side, and I'm going to run from here all the way down. All right, so you see what I'm doing? Okay. All right, I'm just doing little pleats. I had a little bit of excess, so I'm trying to just finish it off with little nice 2 pleats in front. The first thing I'm going to do on the skirt part is I'm going to hold my darts on all the sides. So so the front first, I'm going to hold the dart here, on the other side of the front, on the other side of the front, and then on the back, on this other part as well, hold the dart on the other side. Okay, and then when you're done with that, you're going to have to join the front and the back together on the sides. So just the same way we join the front and the back together on the sides at the top, we're doing that now. All right, so whatever allowance you kept initially, make sure to hold it. I kept 1 inch, but I'm again holding 1.2 just to make the fabric to stretch a bit. All right, what I'm doing here all the way down. I'm not going to hem it at the bottom. The fabric I have does not fray. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the fillets that are meant to be at the bottom, but we need to mark out the points. So here we have the skirt parts. You can see this is the waist here. You come over to the bottom. What we're going to do, remember I told you the fillet is supposed to complete the length of the skirt. Remember that? So remember I kept 1 inch of my fabric for allowance, but I don't really need it. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to come to 6 inches here, make a mark at 6 inches. And then next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to come out to the waist. Remember the waist, we stopped at 16 inches. You see that? I'm going to have place 16 here, and then make sure to hold everything still, and then you're going to come to 40 where the knee is supposed to be, and we're going to mark it up. Okay, so that's where the first fillet is going to be attached to. The one at the bottom is the last fillet. So we're going to measure the space in between both of them. So here we have 9 inches. I'm going to come to the middle and I'm going to make a mark. This is where the center fillet is going to sit. Next thing I'm going to do, simply just mark, so like at the zipper area, you see that, mark it so that I know where I'm starting from and where I should stop. So mark the middle, go ahead, also trace it like so, mark the end as well. Make sure to do the same thing on the other side of the back. So you see this, I'm showing you now on this side and on this other side where the zipper side. Make sure to mark them up too, so that when we're placing the fillet, everything is going to be nice and smooth. After we've marked all our points, just to simply attach all the fillets together, starting from the one at the top. So you see this, I'm going to place front side facing up. All right, you see that, and then I'm going to just stitch from there all the way down. All right, you see that? I'm going to simply just keep stitching. See that the lines that I ruled are now guiding me. All right, see that? Make sure to cut the excess that you have after you are done. You see this excess here? Make sure to cut it after you are done with it. All right, so let me do all the other side. You see the way the lines I ruled are guiding me. make sure to roll those lines. All right, you see this? You see that all the way down. Okay, and then the last one, that's the last one I'm doing now. Okay. On that thread finished. So we're going to continue. Okay, now when you're done with that, remember I told you to cut off all the excess that you have. I'm going to arrange all those corners on both sides, and I'm going to stitch them in place so that you can pretty much skip this step if you want to, but yeah, I would say that you should do this just to hold everything together. Please make sure to use an overlocker to finish this edge. If you have an overlocker, you can use that to do what I'm doing now, just to hold it. And make sure to finish off the sides, all your sides and everything, as you join, if you want this to be the neatest it can be. Alright, so next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to join the front and back together at the waist. So that's what you can see me doing now. So you see, place the back on top of the front, simply stitch. Make sure to align all sides together as you go along. That's what I'm doing now. You can see me going from point to point, from that to side, from side to that. Alright, so the next step is for you to come to where you have the joining. You see this? Align both sides of them together. Okay, and come 9 inches after you have the joining and start to hold both sides of the skirts together. You see the point I marked there? Okay, I kept 1 inch for my allowance, but because the fabric is stretchy, I'm going to hold a total of 1.5 inches for my zipper allowance instead of the 1 inch, just to eat in to the fabric and make sure it stretches. If working fabric that is stretchy and you don't treat it like that, you will have some excess. The next and the last step is to install my zipper. All right, this is pretty easy. I've made a video on how to install a zipper if you do not know. So I'm going to simply consume 1.5 also with my zipper allowance all the way down to the point where it stops stitching. Make sure to back stitch. If you've watched this far, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Have a lovely day. Bye bye. All right. This thing is not easy. This voiceover is something that I'm always doing. A lot of attention. I have to pay a lot of attention.